So in this rather obscure box, we should have a secret new watch from a brand that I truly wasn't expecting. Let's just put it this way, I almost didn't bother reading the email because this is from Swan and Edgar. Now they generally have quite favourable reviews online, but they're definitely a brand I've never really been interested in. Their designs certainly don't appeal to me. Very eclectic, shall we say, at least up until now. And I always thought they just looked a bit cheap and over-designed considering the price, and also they were never particularly special on the spec sheet, but wow, I'm glad I did open the email because this watch promises to be a huge departure from that, and I was instantly hooked. I just kept going back, opening the email again, and eventually came to the conclusion that yeah, I really have to take a look at this because the pictures just looked so nice. So yeah, that's what we're going to be unboxing today. Now this is basically early concept packaging. This got forwarded on by a photographer, I believe, which is why it might look a little bit raggy. I don't expect it to ship in a box like this. You'll find a link to this watch in the video description, by the way. And yeah, these are just loaner units to my knowledge, so they will be going back. I only hope that they look as good in person. Let's see, eh? Ooh. Now, I did have to take off the outer cardboard just because it had multiple addresses all over it, so didn't want to dox myself or some other poor soul. Looks like they've actually sent me two here. Must be one of each colour. Very, very nice. And here it is, your first look at the new Swan and Edgar Horizon. And man, this does actually look exactly like in the pictures. And I'm assuming these may be the exact units used in the pictures. Now, I anticipate, because this is kind of like an early unit or like a photography unit, one or two things, like minor things may change. But man, it is a stunner. Now, their previous designs were much more maximalist with stuff everywhere, whereas this is the extreme opposite. This is about as minimalist as it gets outside of the likes of Movado watches, and it just has that really unusual and distinctive chevron there at the top center. Now this has a bunch of different style inspiration, and I'll run you through that in a second, but first impressions of this watch are pretty good indeed. The way this strap attaches is quite unusual. I'll definitely get into that in a second. But yeah, this watch is launching in two colours. I'll just quickly get that other one unbagged first. Wow, absolutely no concerns about this model looking cheap. Definitely not. Would help if it were in focus, wouldn't it? Yeah, this is the white dial model. And yeah, I mean, I can just tell, I mean, I could actually tell just from the pictures alone, to be honest, that this watch was significantly better constructed than all the previous watches. And it certainly holds up pretty well in the flesh too. Now, out of the two, my favourite is probably the one on the left. Really like the circular date window too. Does feel like that one's maybe a little bit tight on this white one. Certainly is a very snug fit for a double digit date. Whereas this one on the left just seems that bit bigger and more opened up even with the border. Now the specs on this one, we have a 316L stainless steel case, as you may expect, and this one just features an entirely polished finish, which is generally something this brand has been known for, just entirely polished cases. They tend to lean more towards the dress watch sector, and this, I guess, is no exception. We also have a double-domed sapphire crystal with an anti-reflective coating, and this is a pretty good crystal, actually. Now, this one is like a standard domed crystal, so like a gradual dome, with the highest point being in the top center. And often they are the worst for reflections. Normally the boxed style crystals, where they raise at the sides and then go flat on the top, are much more legible. But this is certainly among the most legible of these standard domed crystals I've seen. Not bad at all on this one. Let's check the other one. I mean, just because it's lighter, the white one you seem to have fewer issues with, as you can see there. The movement inside this is a Miyota 9015, so a really quite popular skinny movement, and this watch is pretty skinny. We'll get the exact measurements in a moment. Water resistance, just the typical 580M with a quad screwed rear. And the case back there inspired by the White Cliffs of Dover, which is why I'm assuming they've got kind of like a sea coloured one and then a white mineral coloured one. Now this one has a blue enamel dial, and it's not your typical enamel dial. Lots of enamel watches just have a really glossy surface. This one's slightly different. This one starts glossy at the edges and then has like a matte finish at the center with that gradation. And yeah, this just looks nothing like any of their other watches and holds up nicely. What also holds up, which I'm not sure they mentioned a great deal about in this press release. Oh no, there is a small section here. It's the hands. They really do stand out straight away. Supposedly CNC machined, and they do have some really nice facets and edges to them, as you can see. Not just your typical flat hands that you see on lots of lower cost dress watches. And the leather strap here that's included is like an integrated one, as you can see. It's been kind of custom cut for the case, and it does fit in pretty well. Kind of have that firm finish, and then you also have quick release notches on the back, and the strap goes right up to the edge. Overall, the strap feels pretty good for sure. Now, the thing that's actually taken a bit more of a back seat with this release, because a lot of the focus has been on the rather extreme design, is actually the fact that unlike all their other watches, these are assembled and regulated in the UK, believe it or not, which, if you know anything about UK pay as an employer, man, it is very expensive. And as you might guess, this is definitely towards the higher end of what I cover on this channel. These watches, well, the only pricing information I've got is they say they're going to target somewhere in the £700 to £750 range for these, which is definitely above what I usually cover on this channel, but I mean, they do look higher end than most watches I cover on this channel, no doubt. I'd love to know what you think of this chevron at the top. My wife and I both surprisingly like that, even though we've never seen anything like it before. It is rather large, supposedly based on RAF sector clock designs are inspired by it, but it keeps the whole dial symmetrical and adds that little bit of pizzazz, because I suspect without that it would look rather empty. Here's a look at the other one, by the way. This is Mineral Mousseau, so it's basically like quartz stone dial here. Give that like chalky white effect of the cliffs of Dover, and not sure exactly how well this one comes across on camera. Certainly more of a subtle effect than the other one. I'm actually very impressed with the execution of this, and I have to say, especially from like a mid-distance, these do look very luxurious and rather distinctive too. Can't say I've seen anything quite like this. And that bit on the top center, that gold section, not sure what that's exactly made of. Oh, it's actually 18 karat gold. I was going to say, I mean, it certainly has a lot of shine to it. It isn't just a normal plastic piece, definitely not. Really does glisten about, and yeah, really snazzy bit of kit this. Very, very impressed with this brand. So made such a radical change in their design philosophy. I think these are much more exciting than what they were releasing, which were a bit too generic for sure. I'll get you the measurements of these real quick. On the width here, we've got 39.5 millimeters, lug to lug of somewhere around 47.3, and thickness with that domed crystal of 11.3. If you were excluding that, you'd be more in the 9mm range, so it does make a fair bit of difference. And the strap width, if you did want to change it out, is 20mm. Now the strap itself, yeah, these feel pretty good. They're like suede finish straps with a unusual U-shaped custom buckle as well. Let's have a quick look on the inside. Certainly feels decent. Definitely not the best straps I've felt, but you know, as far as straps go, definitely good enough, and the integration's quite unique. And here's a look at the blue one on my 6¼ inch wrist, and I almost feel like I'm committing a crime here wearing this watch with a hoodie, because this certainly looks like it would better suit a tuxedo in a cocktail bar. Really pleased though that it does stack up in person just like it looked in the press release. Can only hope that the production units look exactly like this, because some of you will be in for a treat. Lovely dial there. Almost changes colour a little bit. Now, the brand name, if you're wondering, is based on an old and really famous department store here in the UK, which shut down like 40 or 50 years ago. It's a beautiful building and an unusual inspiration, I guess, for a watch brand. And it's good to see that they're actually trying to put more of that watchmaking in the UK now, because before it felt, you know, a little bit hollow. Now, the black strap on this white watch is very, very dark. I think just because of the matte finish here, you don't get many reflections off it like you do with standard leather. And it does look maybe a little bit extreme. I think perhaps a dark grey would have gone better with this one. So if you're buying this watch potentially, I'd maybe steer towards something just a fraction lighter, just for a bit more added versatility, but still looks good. And apparently they spent basically almost 2 years working on this watch, and you can tell that they definitely planned a lot of this out. It wasn't a half-hearted attempt. Whether you like the look or not, it's certainly a statement. Yeah, that date wheel, I just think that they need to expand the hole on this white one to the same size as the hole plus the border on the blue one, just to avoid cutting off the edges there. And then here's the on-wrist profile. Now my arm is maybe a little bit too small for this watch, with my 6¼ inch wrist. I think on most people's arms you wouldn't really have any underlug space with this. It's fairly flat. A nice sweep there from that Miyota movement as well. Not the most exotic choice, not a Swiss movement or anything, but probably good enough. Now the finishing here, I'll just give you a close-up because while it is polished, it does have some pretty nice kind of beveled edges here, as you can see. So it isn't quite as simple as it first looks, or at least as it looks from a distance. Now, personally, I've always been one who prefers like a mix of finishes. I just find it more versatile, and I find that when you've got fully polished watches like this, even if they avoid looking cheap, which I think this one does avoid that, they just tend to be a bit more limiting, and for my lifestyle at least, I wouldn't have many opportunities to wear watches like this. Crown, by the way, is just a push pull on this one, very silky actually, and that is maybe second only to another British brand, Christopher Ward. How unusual. So some of the numbers there are different colours, some are yellow. I don't think I've ever seen that before. I'll just see if I can bring a couple of them up. There's one, for example, 3. It's in a, I'm guessing like a goldy colour to match that, but it is not the most visible. I'll just check the blue one real quick. Yeah, that one is all white from the looks of it, which, I mean, it's definitely giving you less legibility concerns. So perhaps 2 things I would change there. I can almost not read that at all. As for luminescence, I doubt this has got any, surely. Now, no luminescence on this one from the looks of it. And I'll quickly just do a crystal test. For our control, we have the trusty Casio Oceanus, which we know is sapphire. And he gives us a nice strong rating there, so that's definitely sapphire. And we're looking for something similar with this new Horizon from Swan and Edgar. Surprisingly, a little bit lower there, but it's definitely still sapphire. Yeah, there we go. Only 4 instead of 5. Not sure why there's the slight discrepancy, but mineral crystals either give you 0 or 1 on this diamond selector. So it is definitely a sapphire crystal. Might just be something to do with the coating treatment. So yeah, out of nowhere, Swan and Edgar are back on my radar. Very interested to see what they release next as well, if they go more down this route with their art style, which I think is certainly the way to go. Just have that couple of problems with the date wheel there on this white one, so I do hope that they can change that by the time the full run comes around, if it's not live already. These are linked in the video description, so you can check the status for yourself. Super clean, not even a chapter ring there, and I think they pulled it off.